Hey everyone, I am here with Keith Andrew of the Keith Andrew Network, chatting about my journey as an actor, voiceover artist, and all that other stuff that I do. And it's great to be chatting with him here tonight and hopefully reaching out to new people and hopefully inspiring some of them as well.
One for people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network. The whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. Prove to them you can still amount to something. Following's brought to you by HB Gibson, home of the X Zone, Life of a Fighter. If you're into anime, definitely check out Anime Adventures. But the first question I want to talk to you about, it's funny because we're talking about anime, so definitely check out Anime Adventures because you also do animated voices. So the first thing I want to tell our audience is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
So how did Nick Field end up becoming the actor, voiceover artist, and doer of a little bit of everything that he does now? Well, I've done a lot of stuff over the last decade and a half. I began by really wanting to be a radio presenter. That was the one thing that I really wanted to do. I was really into finding out about new music and stuff. So I'd listen to all the late night specialist shows. And this was the days before we had YouTube and Spotify. So the only real way to find out about new music that they weren't playing on during the day was on late night radio shows, which I do think helped me develop the radio voice that I have now, alongside my mother's insistence that my sisters and I spoke the Queen's English. If you've ever visited my hometown, you will know that the majority of people do not sound like I do, and maybe it's worked in my favor that they don't. So I started out by getting into radio. I joined Phoenix FM in Brentwood in 2006 and began broadcasting with them, doing a weekly show when they launched full time in 2007. Over time, I did lots of stuff. I was briefly a magazine columnist for a local Essex music magazine called Essex Gig Guide, and it was in around about 2014 that I began thinking the opportunities to progress in radio, there aren't a lot of them. I need to start diversifying, and that was when I started looking into voiceover. I got my first voice reel done at the end of 2014, and then started applying for more work that way. And one of the freelancer sites that I signed up to also had opportunities for things like extra work, acting work. And I thought, well, I'll just put myself forward for this as well, and do some networking there and see what happens. So it was then that I did a couple of bits of acting and even some on-screen presenting and even just like extra work behind the scenes. You know, there's so much that goes on set that people don't realize happens. Find out about being an extra and being on set, or even just being in the audience for a show. You will learn about how the shows you like were made. And from that, I've progressed further into acting. I've got 3 films out on Amazon Prime. I've got a couple of TV appearances under my belt, and I've got a few more feature films coming out soon. I've got 3 films out on Amazon Prime, as I say, and a short film that I played a police officer in as part of a web series called Hard to Leave is coming out this Saturday, which I'm really excited to share with everyone.
Absolutely. One thing I do want to point out is you are freezing. So if you can close any applications you have running in the background, that will probably help with the internet connection. But the question I wanted to ask the other question I want to ask you is, what is the biggest change you wanted to make in your acting career?
The biggest change, the thing that really drives me in my acting career is is inspiring others. You know, I do that in my day job as a learning support worker in a college as well. It's like, I mean, I grew up on the autism spectrum. I wasn't formally diagnosed until my mid-30s, so this was about 6 years ago. And I like that I can be there for youngsters of today and show them that they can, and just show them that you can kind of like, you can make progress, you can contribute to society. And I aim to do the same thing with my acting career as well. I hope that I can inspire others, that I get out there and do stuff. And what I really want people to know is that whatever line of work you're in, whatever line of work interests you, and it does interest me hearing about what other people do as well, because a lot of people are just like, I could never do a job like yours, I could never be an actor. I'm like, well, I could never do your job. I've played police officers, financial people, I've been senior level teachers, and they're the kind of jobs that I wouldn't stand a chance in the real world, but I'm able to kind of put myself in the shoes of that kind of person, and be that kind, and be like them. And that's something that really interests me. I would love to do more. I suppose in my acting career, I'm not that fussed about being like a Hollywood leading man or anything like that. I really like I definitely consider myself more of a character actor. I'm definitely more into kind of like the quirkier characters, the characters with the ones who are cracking one-liners and stuff like that, and bringing life to those kinds of characters. So I think, I kind of see it as anything that I get from every time I do a bit of acting, I genuinely feel like I walk away with something from it. It's like every job you do is a bit different. Every character you play is a bit different. So I just find that I get so much from that, even just from smaller roles, I feel like I walk away from every role, a little bit better at what I do.
No, absolutely. Next, well, the same question, but what is the biggest change you have made? Actually, I sound kind of repetitive. The question is, what is the biggest change you have made in your acting career and make? So actually, it's the same question, but let me ask you in a different way. From everything that you did in your acting career, has being an actor made your life different? Compare your life before you were an actor to after. Do you see a big change in your acting career and in your personal life?
Being an actor has given me so much. It really has. It's given me the ability to put myself in other people's shoes, to work with a variety of people. I've met the great thing about being on set, even when you're just an extra, like someone walking around in the background, when you get talking to other people on set, everyone has a different story to tell, and I think in many ways it's given me confidence in telling my own story, talking about what I've done and how I got into the industry, because everyone has a story of how they got into the industry. And some of the stuff, the thing is, it's like you see a lot of these shows of like these before they were famous shows, where you see people, where you see famous people doing stuff that they would not want to talk about now. I mean, I think there was like John Travolta in a shampoo advert and they had to sing this really weird song as part of it, where they actually list like the ingredients in shampoo, which if you've ever read the ingredients list of a shampoo bottle, those words do not lend themselves well to song lyrics. So, and I mean, I've got a few in my time. I've done a few student films where I'm playing these very odd characters. But but I think I can look back on them now and say, yeah, but that still gave me something. So I think I like to think in a lot of ways it's helped me see the good in stuff that I've done previously. Even when I'm looking back at my, in my retail job, which I had years and years ago, I think I can look back at how I started and 6 years later when I finished. And, I do think that I was able to, although I do still struggle a lot, I'm not very good at thinking on my feet. I do struggle with that still. And with my condition, it takes me a long time to process information. So, thinking on the spot is not my strong point at all. But I do think that I can compose myself better. I can actively contribute to discussions better than I used to. And yeah, I think I can present myself and I can say, this is me better than I used to.
Perfect. I feel the same that way. I may be slow, but once I get a hang of it, I will be great at it. But the next question I want to ask you is, what do you consider the highlight of your acting career and your voiceover career?
Ooh. The highlight of my acting career and what, sorry?
No, what do you consider the highlight of your acting career and voiceover career?
Right, highlight of my acting career and voiceover career. There's been so much. I think one of the highlights of my acting career, I've done a couple of bits on ITV and Channel 4 here in the UK. I've been up on the Britain's Got Talent stage as part of an identity parade, which was pretty amazing. I was also on and also getting my first feature film role that appeared on Amazon Prime and having my name in the opening credits. My first credited feature film role was a film called Calamity Kevin, which is currently available on Amazon Prime. Look it up. I'm not sure if it's available in every country, but feel free to look it up. And that had like my name in the opening credits, kind of like starring this person, this person, this person. And seeing your name in that felt when I felt like a legitimate actor. That was definitely a highlight for me. And I think and another thing that I found was just other people who are actively interested in what I do. It's like people respond to it really well, and I'm really thankful for that, because I could very easily be surrounded by people who are like, "Are you mad? Trying to get into the acting industry?" Like, but you're nearly 40. So I'm just glad that people are genuinely inspired and encourage me. So that feels like a big achievement as well. In terms of voiceover, the great thing about voiceover, and I get a similar thing with my radio show when I'm interviewing upcoming bands, I'm not necessarily interested in interviewing big name bands. I get a lot of satisfaction from bands who've never done radio before, and for them it's something genuinely exciting and something that they genuinely feel like they've legitimized themselves as a band by being interviewed on the radio. And I get that a lot with voiceover as well, because I get a lot of the time it's not necessarily with the brands themselves, it's often through the company that's done the animation for them or put the video together for them. And I'm pleased that I'm helping lots of small businesses move things up a level with their first advert. There's so much to be said for that. I've done a couple of bigger name things, like I did a corporate video for Sony Xperia once. So yeah, people get impressed when I tell them I've done that, but it's like I see it as it's par for the course, really. But yeah, it's like knowing that you've helped a lot of businesses sort of like move things up a level. and get that first online advert. And people respond really well to things like online video. So you genuinely feel like you are making a difference to companies, no matter how big they are or aren't, making an impact.
No, absolutely. Next one I want to ask you is, what is your best, let's see how I'm going to phrase this. What is the best advice you can give someone with learning disabilities to follow in your footsteps, and the best advice you have received in your acting career?
The best advice that I would give to someone someone getting into acting is, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's a student film, whether it's just you standing in, every project you work on has value. If it's whether it's, like I say, whether it's a student project, whether it's you and a few friends in a camcorder, all the way through up to bigger roles, it is still significant. It's still something that's going to teach you a lot about the industry, and it's still something about, and what was I going to say? And when people say, have I seen you in anything? It doesn't matter if it's something that's not that upcoming. It's like, it just doesn't matter if it's been on like national television or available online, or if something gets uploaded to YouTube, it's available pretty much anywhere in the world. So if you're in like a short film that's been put up on YouTube, it is very accessible. So, every project that you're on has value. As a voiceover artist, I would say the one bit of advice that I give to people upcoming now, and that I would give to myself back in the day, is practice more. Get scripts, practice them as much as possible, and sort of learn how to emphasize, where to emphasize in sentences. And this is going to sound weird, but learn how to breathe when delivering scripts, because the way you breathe when you're delivering voiceover scripts is very different to normal speech. This is why when people say, can you do this bit? Can you do this talk? Like you're having a conversation with someone. I'm like, have you read this script? This is not a conversation. Rant over. So it's but yeah, familiarize yourself with that, where to emphasize, and how to deliver things properly. The best advice that I've received as an actor, and this was in my very first I did a couple of 12-week acting courses, and this was in the very first lesson that I was with. It was a woman who'd been in EastEnders a couple of times, and she said, be nice to everyone on set, because the runners you work with today are the directors of tomorrow. So whenever you're on set, even if you're just with a bunch of students who are still very much trying to learn the ropes, and and they're not sure what they're doing, still keep your cool, and treat them with respect as well, because they are the ones who are going to go forward into the industry. So and also I think the age of the actor being a diva on set and being like the most important, because they are kind of effectively the face of a project, I think those days are going now. Especially bad reputation follows you around. So I would say definitely it pays to be nice to people, and be respectful to people, and and a lot of the time just go with the flow. And that will help you a lot in this industry.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the other question I want to ask you is, are you on social media, and how are fans and listeners get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me via my website, which is nickfieldmedia.co.uk. I'm also on all the socials as Nick Field Media. So if you just do a search for that, then you should be able to find me quite quickly. So yes, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and some of the others as well when I can get signed up to those. So just look up Nick Field Media online, and you should be able to find me.
Absolutely. Do you have a question I want you to ask? Well, for me to ask, but for you to be brutally honest, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest reaction when you got the email? What made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people?
You know what? There's a lot to be said for people who put themselves out there, and and want to help other people. It's a bit like me with my radio show. I get a lot more out of helping people than I do out of playing a bunch of music that I like. So yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of people who do shows like these, and I've been interviewed on a few of them, and I'll look at these and I'll think, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make the most of. I try and make the most of people reaching out to me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. I saw that you were mainly talking about people with disabilities, learning difficulties, and the like, which I really applaud. I mean, I will happily talk for ages about how much I struggled with poor social skills, which I later found out were a result of autism. So, I think, when for us to be in a place where we can be open about that is fantastic. And I really like, and I just appreciate when people are trying to help others get out there, because that's because that is a great thing, and I think it's great that you want to get yourself out there and you want to help others get out there as well. So more power to you, my friend.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But with the last 5 minutes left, was there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to promote? This is your time.
Thank you very much. You can catch me every Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK time. Given we're about 8 hours in front, I think that's the early hours where you are. But if you're able to tune in, I will greatly appreciate it. And actually, no, I think it's about midday where you are. Sorry, that's me getting my clock entirely wrong. It'll be yes, some good mid-afternoon. So phoenixfm.com, 8 p.m. UK time. You can listen to my show Curveballs. The films that I'm involved in on Amazon Prime, Calamity Kevin, World Cup Heist, and The Viking War, they're all available now. And look up Ike Media for more information on Hard to Leave. The episode that I'm in is called Two Worlds Apart. I play Officer Mark Brennan in that. And yes, there's plenty more coming. So yes, look out for that, and look out for a pilot called Bad Influencers, also out now on YouTube. The pilot episode's up now, and there's more coming from that. And I play the kind of boss you wouldn't want to work for.
Oh, I had a bunch of those too. Found out the hard way. But the thing I want to ask you is, what type of guests do you have on your show?
I mainly interview up and coming bands from around the Essex and London areas, but I also interview people from other places as well. I've got a gentleman called Lee David Carter who's coming on about a book that he's one book that he's brought out in his second book about his own journey, and he's also organising a Pride event in his local area as well. So he'll have lots to talk about.
And is your talk show video or audio?
It is audio. Although we do have a webcam in the studio as well. So if you go to phoenixfm.com, you'll be able to find more information about that.
No, absolutely. No, it's the last question I want to ask you is, how have you been during the whole pandemic? I know it's going to get a lot worse before getting better. I was told England's on lockdown. How are you doing? How are you holding up?
I think the easiest way to take something like lockdown, and we've had I say we've had 2.5. Technically, we've had 3, but one of them wasn't really a proper lockdown. You've got to take it one day at a time, really. I think. So yeah, just got to take every day as it comes. I mean, I was really fortunate in that in my learning support job, I was still doing online tutoring. I was still doing bits of voiceover work. A lot of actors moved into voiceover work, so in a lot of ways, I had a bit of a head start on many of them. And so, yeah, it's difficult because the goalposts are always changing, but with the pandemic itself and with the government trying to get to grips with it and not doing very well over here anyway. And yeah, I think really you've just got to try and take each day as it comes, and just try and take care of yourself as well. It's like I think you've just got to try not to fall into bad habits because you can't be bothered. Make your bed, get dressed, do your best to eat healthily. Don't try and comfort eating junk food isn't going to make you feel any better in the long run. So I think really you've just got to have routines. People with conditions like ours, it's good to have routines and things like that. And just try and be in control as much as you can. Just remember that you matter, your health matters, and yeah, just try it. Just work with what you've got. Be thankful for what you've got. Gratitude over the last few years has helped me get a long way. I attribute a lot of my success so far in the acting world to just having gratitude for what I've got, and not being completely overwhelmed by what I don't have. Because I don't know, as a kid, I wouldn't say I was from a rich family or anything like that, but I did act like a spoiled brat at times when I was a kid. So having the sense of gratitude really has helped me a lot through here.
Oh, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. For viewers, make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. Make sure to like and subscribe to our guest. Follow him on Instagram for all brand new hit content coming from the one and only Keith Andrew Network. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, hashtag Keith Andrew Network. But as I always say, until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.